Now we've got some KPIs in here for you, but we need to think about what are the different divisions in our company. So if you need to start laying this out yourself, if you didn't have this in front of you, you would just think about what is it that you do every day? What are the tasks that you have to do in order to launch, grow, manage a product on Amazon, and then eventually a series of products. And so if we think to ourselves like, okay, well, we need to do product research. So you need a product development team, right? So you have a product team. This is product development, it's sourcing. You basically validate that product or idea, then you need to go find factories that make it. So you have to have sourcing, right? So this whole division is product. And then you have to design that product. So you have to customize that design, and you have a whole creative team. So product design can live underneath product or creative, depending on your org. And then you have to validate that. So you have to go back into the product development manager. You take those designs, and then that person would run a PickFu, an IntelliV, a product opinion, whatever poll you want to do to test it before you launch it. And then you would get that feedback. You would give it back to your product designer. You would they would fix it, and then you give that to your sourcing manager. And then that sourcing manager is going to go back to the factory and then work with getting that produced. Now, that's just to get to the product actually being produced. Now you need to design the packaging. You need to design the insert card, right? So you're back to creative. Now you need to get the stuff to Amazon and manage the supply chain. So you have logistics and you have a supply chain manager. This involves an inventory planner so you don't run out of stock. This involves someone who is making things more efficient and getting the best rates and planning what's going to go where so that you have inventory split up. That's a logistics manager. And then you have someone who is feeding orders. Now, product might be keeping an eye on that, but inventory planner, orders coordinator, that could be similar. Orders coordinator would be someone that is fulfilling for multi-channel or for other marketplaces. Now that product arrives at Amazon and you're ready to launch it. And so you need sales, right? We call it sales, but it's basically marketing or brand management. So you have the product manager and your Amazon PPC manager. And so your Amazon SEO manager, the PPC guy is going to turn on the ads. And maybe that's the same person, maybe it's two different people, right? The person actually overseeing the products, keeping an eye on them, looking at the competitors, understanding what needs to be adjusted, if anything, when to run deals, strategy. This is product manager. Someone running and pulling the trigger or pulling the actual ads can be the same person, could be someone different, but then that person turns on the ads at the, this is their manager, right? And then decides to go and launch it. Now you launch it and you need to optimize it. So you get feedback, you look at your conversion rates, you need to optimize. Maybe now you push the product back to your product designer and to your creative team and say, hey, we need better images, we need better content, we need to fix our layout, we need XYZ to improve our A+ or our content to improve our conversion rates. So now you have the creative team getting involved again. And photography, copywriting needs to be someone that really understands the algorithm. It's someone that really understands, indexing. So I would say not just keyword ranks. Organic keyword ranks are a big part of that because that involves indexing, right? If you have an indexing issue, it's because you didn't write your listing correctly a lot of times. If listing's not converting that well, it could be because of the way it's written, but it also could be because of the way it was designed and then the photography, but that falls underneath creative, right? So graphic designer, copywriter, remember it's like one KPI per person. So you can decide whether conversion rate falls here or here. Now you're growing the product. You need to make sure you have supplies and inventory. You need to make sure that you are running ads and deals and lightning deals. Here's your conversion manager over here, actually. So they own conversion and they work with this team. So I like this better, where you take conversion out of their hands and you put it into this person's hands. And then if conversion's not good, then they're kind of testing, asking the creative team to constantly go.
Hey, if you're enjoying this content, you're going to love the masterclasses that we host on a regular basis. We've got over 1,000 members in our private community, and over 400 of them are already doing over $1 million. We regularly host masterclasses with hundreds of students, and you can find out more below. Join us.
So then you need support staff. So you need accounting and finance and making sure that you're getting the right amount of products done. So you have your CFO, who can also serve as maybe human resources or operations, but not necessarily. You make sure that you have your bookkeeping done properly. And then depending on how wide your org, you might be doing social media, you might be working with influencers. Something that's not here is now TikTok or influencer marketing, or, working with creators, right? So you have social media manager that would work with creators that could be, on TikTok, for example. You have paid ads manager would be someone maybe off Amazon ads management. And while this one's on Amazon. So all of these different seats, whether you are level 1 or level 5, or have to have someone in it. Someone owns all of these different things that I just mentioned. And that's the big idea that I want to get around your head, right? So Adam, it's you and your dad, right? We were discussing. What I want you to do is take this org chart, and you're going to write who owns each of these seats, right? You might not be doing some of these things now. You might not be working with creators. You might not be off Amazon. But for the most part, all of our businesses from product number 1 require all of these seats. This is the org chart. This is what it really looks like, level 1 through X, right? And if it's just you and your dad, or just you're going to write your name in every single one of these seats, or you and your partner and assistant into every single one of these seats and their KPI. And then you're going to do a reflection on how good of a job you actually are doing in each of these seats. If your KPI is for supply chain is out of stock rate, which is a good metric for supply chain, right? Keeping things in stock is their number one duty, and very, very, very important. And you keep running out of stock, then you're not doing a good job as the supply chain manager. And you might need to replace yourself in that seat. You need to fire yourself essentially from that seat. Now, if it's a finance issue because you don't have the money to order, then you're sitting in the CFO seat and you're not planning properly for your growth. Managing finances and goal setting from a financial standpoint is a finance role and KPI. And maybe you're not doing a good job of properly financially planning the future and capability financially of your organization. You should fire yourself from that, or at least identify it and improve. So how many seats can one person fill without becoming ineffective? The reality is that 1 to 3 million, which, from a perspective of this, if you have 5 SKUs, they might be fast moving SKUs, but they're ultra successful. And you have a $10 million business on 5 SKUs, essentially that can be a level 2 org, right? And you can still manage most of these things yourself with an assistant or a couple assistants or a partner and assistant. But if you're doing 10 million with 40 SKUs, you can't effectively operate that with 3 people. Now, if you have someone else doing your PPC or owning an entire division of this org, right? Because you've outsourced it, you should count that as part of your org chart. But you need to give them KPIs and you need to evaluate them properly as well.